Hello and welcome back to another episode of Father and Sundays, the unexplainable guide to absolutely nothing. We are on episode 73 today.
73, yes?
Yes, and we are talking about pirates.
Pirates?
Pirates. Stick around if you want to hear more. Why, hello there, Dad.
Oh, is this the new one for this week? Is it for this week? Yes, hello there, Connor.
How are you feeling?
Miles better than I have been. Yes, I haven't been very well, so...
Yeah, for anyone who's thinking, episode 73? Shouldn't this be episode 74 this week? Aren't we a week late? You're absolutely right.
Yes.
Dad was rather unwell.
I was rather poorly, wasn't I?
And we have not been well prepared enough to be able to record too much in advance. So he was unwell, which meant that we were pretty stuffed
to do it,
and
yeah.
unable to do anything.
No, we were trying to get ahead of ourselves. We used to be, didn't we? But these days we fly on by the seat of our pants with these things.
Yeah.
But unfortunately I think probably last Saturday I was fairly much bedridden and hallucinating. So, and rather feverish. So it wasn't very good. So... Did I tell you that I actually, if I could tell you a short story here, just to give you some idea of the hallucinations.
Is it going to be as good as the one about the Velociraptor last week?
I can't even remember that, so yes, probably. Well...
You wrote a story.
Oh yes, I wrote a story about the Velociraptor. Yeah,
and when I say last week? 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. Yeah, so anyway, right, I used some towels. I thought it'd be prudent to use my own towels, like in the bathroom.
Towels?
Yeah.
Towels with a W.
Because I've been moving things around in rooms, trying to get to certain things. I have talked about in recent times that I've been bought to fold up kayaks, but these kayaks are in quite rather big, large bags, but they stand up quite straight. But they're about sort of 5 foot to 6 foot. When they're standing up, sort of thing. Perhaps not 6 foot. No, that sounds really
that's taller
massive.
than you.
Anyway, right, 2 of those.
It's got to be about 4 foot.
Two of those because my wife. I was in the room on my own. My wife was up visiting my daughter. Those 2 were sitting in there out the way because there's such big things at the moment. We're not sure what we're going to do with them at the moment. Where we're going to store them. So when I use these towels,
well, there's a flat pack shed in the garden.
There's a flat pack shed that I haven't built either.
For not building.
Yes, but I wasn't very well. Anyway. So I had a bath, used these towels, thought, right, I'll hang them up in the room. So I hung them over, each one over these 2 bags.
No way, it was like a magic trick and they disappeared.
5 foot bags.
They're not 5 foot.
Well, then I woke up in the middle of the night and I hallucinated the fact that there was 2 ghosts in my room, and it absolutely freaked me out big time. I even took a picture of them in the middle of the night as well, which I've got on my phone. I don't think I've mentioned this since then, no, but I'll show you after this. But yes, it really freaked me out.
Yeah, if you could show me
I woke
these
up,
ghosts.
Yeah, I'll show you now, shall I?
If you could. Why are you waiting till afterwards?
Well, because this is not really for... You know what?
Oh, I can describe it if you want.
Can describe it? Okay,
I'll describe it.
Camera. Here we go, there's one of them.
Wow, very spooky.
There's the other one.
You know what it looks like?
And that was what I took in the night.
Wow. You know what it looks like? Just to describe it to the audience.
Yeah.
It looks like a box that's got a towel over it.
But it is a box that's got a towel over it. I didn't say it. I said I was hallucinating. It wasn't actually something that
It wasn't
was
actually
real.
a kayak at all.
It wasn't ghosts. That's what that's what I was saying, but I thought it was ghosts. Anyway.
I've just got upset, Dad. I've left my drink somewhere.
Oh, no, that's a terrible thing to happen.
Downstairs.
So, yes, so not very well. Much apologies for not being able to put out a podcast last week.
It was all Dad's fault.
It was all my fault. And
no,
well,
in fairness, he was unwell. He's nothing.
We'll have to have a clean run soon, I think. So hopefully we'll get a few under our belt soon. So
a few hundred under our belt.
Well, when we're heading towards 100, we're at 73 now.
Yep.
Did you say?
You could have said that at 2.
Yeah,
we're heading towards 100.
Yeah, by the, these do whiz
73,
along.
by the way.
73, that's what I said.
Oh, I thought you said 72, but
no,
I
73,
said 2,
the next
didn't I?
big one being 75, and then I think it won't be that long until we're
25 after.
Exactly. Yeah. Well done for being able to count.
End of the year, like next year.
Oh, I don't know. Anyway, let's not dwell too much on that. Pirates. I'm just going to come in with it like that. Now, right. So we're aware that there are still pirates today. But the pirates we're talking about are probably the pirates you're expecting us to talk about, which are pirates of old. So,
like Captain Jack Sparrow-esque.
Well, yes. I guess that in that way, when someone thinks of a pirate, that's Pirates what they think Caribbean. Of it these days, doesn't they?
Or if you look at it, Pirates of the Caribbean.
No. Caribbean is the real annoying thing, isn't it? Because it's Caribbean, but some other people.
But it looks like Caribbean.
Yeah, but it's not, is it? Why are you straying off like that?
How do you pronounce Heinz baked beans?
Beans, Beans.
Yeah, now spell Caribbean.
Shut up.
Caribbean.
Yeah, but that's got no relevance to what we're talking about. So when you think of a pirate.
I'm still stuck on the Caribbean thing.
Don't get stuck on the Caribbean thing, because we're not even talking specifically about pirates of the Caribbean. We are talking about pirates of the world.
But we watched Pirates of the Caribbean, didn't we?
We did watch Pirates of the Caribbean, but that's not what we're talking about, because that's fiction. And
we can talk about Pirates of the Caribbean.
We only deal with facts on this podcast.
It's very untrue. We've done a whole podcast on science fiction.
Yes, but the factual side of it. Anyway.
Oh, right.
So, it's a bit... I'm going to punch you in a minute. I'll tell you what, I might not have been very well, but I'm really starting to build up. You're in one of those moods where we're going to get nothing done. We need to nail this one down. We've had too many of these that have been too loose. So let's get going. A pirate. All right? So, what's your definition of a pirate? The definition I've got here is a person who attacks and robs ships at sea.
Well, you asked me what my definition is, so I'm going to say a person that attacks and robs ships at sea. You probably should have let me answer first.
No. Right. But it's a bit like someone saying one person's terrorist, the other person's freedom fighter, you know? So when you start looking back at pirates and the way they behaved, there was a sort of very like grey area.
Father Christmas breaks and enters into people's houses.
Yeah. So it's a very grey area. And the other word people used at the time for it was privateers.
No, because privateers are different.
So what is the difference between a privateer and a pirate?
A privateer would be essentially sent out. There'll be government-sanctioned pirates.
But this is the problem, isn't it? Because when you looked at it, it was a bit like the... quite a lot of bits and pieces I looked at, there was a lot of sanctioned piracy or privateering, which was because they were hitting the Spanish, the British government were very happy about it happening. You know, they had no issues whatsoever. So people used it, governments used it just to mask, basically, piracy. They endorsed this sort of behaviour until...
So it's government...
Yeah, but it's still piracy, isn't it? It's still...
Yeah, that's why it's called government-sanctioned piracy.
Yeah, but privateering part of it. So for instance, right, and Francis Drake, who appears to have just emailed us, right, he was a pirate, right? He was a pirate just because he becomes Sir Francis Drake... because Queen Elizabeth endorsed what he's done, and quite a lot when you look at these pirates. He's the one from
Blackadder, isn't he?
As much as I love Blackadder, you need to look a little bit further.
But yes,
he was in. But
he was the one for Blackadder. It helps.
No, he was Walter Riley in Blackadder in the second one.
What?
Walter Riley, you're thinking of?
Oh right, okay.
Right. Anyway,
you got a woman's hands. That one.
No, that's yes, even that episode, yeah. But so they seem to flip, and some of the most sort of infamous pirates seem to flip between being sanctioned or even governors of particular areas to being pirates to going back and forth.
Can I just come back onto your point though? Is there's a massive moth for one, and two. Or a noff, if you're Becky. You're saying that, well, they're government-sanctioned pirates, but they're actually just pirates doing piracy. Yeah, that's what a privateer is. A government-sanctioned pirate still means they do piracy.
Yeah, but my point being, and people used to call themselves something.
It's not just downloading a DVD.
They were they might. I mean, there was a lot of times where ships would fly a certain flag, but not necessarily true to what they were.
I've just remembered.
What?
When we spoke about what we're going to do in the podcast, we'll talk about privateers. And I was thinking you might ask me, what do you think privateers are? And you did. And I was meant to reply with, that's when someone gets their cry on their own. And then
privateers.
Yeah. And then I forgot I was going to do it. And now it's lost all its thing.
My goodness. But yeah, I mean, so it was very sort of, you had, not many of them were out on their own at first. I mean, some of these pirates, they become more and more...
Do on your own?
Huh?
Big boat to handle on your own?
Well, they weren't, to be honest, apparently they didn't. I mean, this is the thing, right? You see, our idea of piracy is from things like Pirates of the Caribbean.
Or
right?
Caribbean.
Or the Pirate series with Johnny Depp in it. Or other stuff like Treasure Island from the Disney Treasure Island, right? Now...
Or Treasure Planet.
Or Treasure Planet for another Disney film, which is
space pirates.
Yeah. Anyway,
or Guardians of the Galaxy, they're kind of space pirates, aren't they?
They are. Well, piracy is piracy, isn't it? It doesn't matter where you are. And this is the thing, right? So, if I was to say to you, and you've already done it in this podcast, what does a pirate sound like, right?
West Country.
Right. So you're going to go West Country. So you're going to go, arr, shiver me timbers, and all that sort of nonsense, yeah?
Ooh, arr.
Ooh, arr. There's me tractor. Obviously,
tractor over the sea.
The pirates that came from the West Country talked in a West Country accent. The pirates that came from other parts of the world, which obviously and lots of the ships, and I just need to come back to that. We talked about how big the ships were. They didn't sail. It wasn't practical for them to sail in massive ships that you see in films. They wouldn't have sailed around in them. They just weren't practical for them to do them. There's still other ships that were bigger.
Because the one in the pirate film that I keep mentioning has got lots of holes in it. That's run by Davy Jones, and it goes underwater.
Right, yeah. But the other galleons, or galleons as you'd see, you know. Anyway... What was I saying? So, the reason that everybody talks like that is they pretty much track it back to the film Treasure Island, the fact that the actor who played... is it Long John Silver in it? But the actor who played that character...
Who are you talking to there?
...was myself. Played it in his Dorset accent. So, kind of not going towards West Country. And from there on... Everybody in pirate films talks in that way.
No,
but
not
they
everyone.
Don't.
No, because the pirate film with Johnny Depp in it, yeah, Johnny Depp speaks in an English accent, and they all speak in English accents.
Yes, yeah. And that, actually, of all the things that have brought it back a little bit, some of the things that happen in those films, as bizarre and as make-believe as they are, and fantastical, as a word I used before, they are actually... a little bit more true to life in that respect. So you'd have all different people from all different countries on board a ship. They wouldn't necessarily be from one particular area.
Captain Hook's not West Country.
No. But there's even a day, Speak Like a Pirate Day, isn't there?
Yeah, there is, yeah.
And how do you speak when you speak like a pirate day?
Ooh, my boat.
No, you don't. Right? You know full well... You're just trying to be annoying, aren't you? That you know full well that it's all this me laddie and all this sort of and all that sort of stuff. That's the whole point of it. But that
Kraken.
And only people that lived in that area talked in that way. So there was sort of a real diversity. Yeah, there'll
be French pirates. There'll be Spanish pirates.
Exactly. There'll be complete
Caribbean
diversity.
pirates. There'll be English pirates, Scottish pirates. All of them.
All of them, yeah. But yeah, so there's a lot of sort of myths about what pirates used to do and how they used to behave. I mean, majority of the time they wouldn't kill everybody on board. There's some quite infamous pirates. One of the things I did read is the best pirates there were are ones you've never heard of, because obviously the ones you've heard of were caught, killed, or whatever. So there'll be other pirates that went through their pirating days not actually being discovered, and actually they're the better pirates out of all of them. But people remember the sort of...
It's like the best criminals as well.
Just the best
criminals are the ones you never know.
People remember people like Blackbeard and stuff like that. It's obviously the more infamous ones that you're going to remember. You're not going to remember old Captain Joe Bloggs, who successfully... Was
he a pirate? Because you mentioned him a lot.
He did a lot of things, Joe Bloggs. He was a man of many hats.
Pirate hats?
Pirate hats for one.
Fact check.
Episode 70 found us discussing Japan and Japanese culture. However, it was so hot on the day of recording, we were lacklustre at best, and it resulted with an apology on the next podcast, where I said, sorry for sounding a bit jaded. I followed it with a laugh as I thought jade originated from Japan. It does not. It originates from China.
Fact check.
Okay, so we've discussed about, where pirates come from and what they should sound like or not sound like.
And where they come from everywhere.
Yeah, that's what I said in the first bit, yeah?
Well, you said we've discussed where pirates come from. We've discussed... And you said what they sound like everywhere. Or what they don't sound like.
Yeah.
And so the fact is we've also determined that they come from everywhere.
Hi. In the first bit, we've ascertained that pirates come from all over the place, and they sound like everybody in all different parts of the world.
Not everywhere, because there are some parts of the world that weren't really necessarily too populated at that point.
What, the bits where there weren't any water?
Well, there wasn't really many Americans at that point.
Well, South America certainly got hit, and Central sort of America certainly got hit by...
Within the United States, though...
Well, there would have been... Anyway, right.
But they wouldn't have an American accent.
If you wanted to bring that up, you should have brought that up in the first section of this thing. Right. Okay, so... What? When you think of a pirate, right? When you think about a classic pirate...
Yeah, I see where you're going here. You want me to specifically name some things in particular.
Yes. So, describe for me a pirate.
Describe you. Well... pirates can look like anything, because the whole thing with a pirate is they're just a person that's been taken aboard a ship. So they could be wearing whatever they just were wearing when they got on the ship. However, you want me to say stripy shirt.
No.
You want me to say big balloon-like trousers.
No.
You want me to say boots.
That's not on my list, but yes, that's, what you're saying is right. Classic
you would say
stuff.
Bearded.
Bearded, right. So, here's the thing. Most of the stuff you see, the people have got beards, right? It's very unlikely that most European pirates at the time, through those ages, would have had beards, right? I mean, even some of the pirates are nicknamed by that, but, most of them would have been fairly clean shaven, certainly wouldn't it, because it wasn't fashionable, and there was a certain element of it that certainly the captain and the sort of his second in command, third, the elite on the boat, they would have looked a lot different to what we perhaps expect, with the exception of someone like Blackbeard, who was by all accounts someone who terrorised and was very much feared by other people. One of the ways that he used to do that, he used to weave hemp into his beard, right? So he had a big bushy beard. He used to weave hemp into it and his hair as well. And then he used to set light to it. So when he sort of came upon people and it looked like, he looked like something from hell, like, because it was burning, his bush would be on fire. But it wasn't necessarily something that a lot of the pirates would have. What else?
But I can imagine that there'll be quite a number of the fact that they're out at sea throughout long periods of time might not necessarily mean they have these big bushy beards, but they're likely to have some kind of beard.
I mean, and I imagine most of the crew, most of the crew would
shave on a thing, and I don't think that Phillips was a brand then at that point either.
Okay, no, it wasn't. No.
You also want me to say hat?
Well, they would have worn hats. What about the scarves on their heads? Did you just say that? Yeah. Okay. Well, they would have probably worn the scarves, not necessarily because it was a fashion statement, but really just to keep the sun off their heads. That's why they would have worn the hats as well. Apart from some of the captains that might have had more of an elaborate sort of hat to wear. Yeah. Anything else?
You want me to say eye patch?
Eye patch, yeah. So quite a lot of pirates wore eye patches, didn't they? Why do you reckon they wore eye patches?
I don't think quite a lot of pirates wore eye patches.
Quite a few wore eye patches. Why would they wear eye patches, though, Connor?
Because they get poked in the eye.
No.
In sword fights.
No. Well, some of them undoubtedly would have been injured, but actually they used to wear eye patches. So it's a bit like when my optician said to me, your eyesight, you need varifocals. Oh, you're wearing contact lenses. Well, you can try these out. Otherwise, just wear one lens in one eye, and in that way, your eyes sort of correct themselves. They used to wear a patch over their eye because when they were going beneath decks and above decks, and the light and dark,
one would be accustomed to the dark.
One would be accustomed to the dark. One would be accustomed to the light, and it'd actually help them in navigating around the ship. Wow, I hear you say. That's an interesting fact, eh? Did you know? I'm going to just tell you these things.
That's an interesting fact,
earrings.
Dad.
What about earrings? You see pirates have always got loads of earrings. Yeah. Earrings were worn for various different reasons, right? One of the reasons was the earrings normally had, or some of them had, bits of wax hanging from them. And they used to shove those in their ears when the cannons went off or any sort of loud noises to stop them damaging their ears, to be honest. So they were there and they could wedge them into their ears. If a pirate died, right, there might be worth something. So quite a lot of the pirates would have also engraved on them where they were born. So if they died, not only would there be money if they sold the earrings to pay for any funeral expenses, but they'd also have a rough idea where that body needed to be taken back to, right? And another reason they wore earrings is because they believed they were quite superstitious pirates. And I think there's still a lot, even in the Navy these days, there are certain things still that people do. But they thought they had healing capabilities, such like waylaying illness. Waylaying illness, which is my word. Preventing seasickness. Now, people wear copper bands, don't they, on their wrists and things for sickness and things like that. So there's an element of something there, and also to stop them drowning. Although I don't know,
inflatable earrings.
Unless they're inflatable earrings, then they'll be all right, wouldn't they? But so what
peg
about
legs?
Peg legs. Well, interestingly, right. Obviously, there were people with peg legs, and there was lots of injuries and
hooks.
And hooks. Bearing in mind that, did you know that they had?
Did you know?
Well, no. Did you know? Did you? Did you know they were quite good? You think about a pirate, and you think, oh, you wouldn't trust them. They'd all turn on a mutiny any second now. They'd all turn on each other and all the rest of it. But they were quite. It was weird. They had certain things that they held dear to them, and one of them was that any sort of loot that they found or any money they made, there were schemes. They had sort of almost like an insurance scheme within the crew. So basically, if someone got injured, they would pay them out. They'd pay out for, say, they lost a right hand, they'd get a certain amount of money. If they lost a left hand, a certain amount of money, a right leg, certain amount of money, left leg, certain. So almost as a retirement payment for them, though. But it was all done above board in order for them to actually survive.
Above board.
Obviously above board. Like, there's a little joke there from. But basically, all right. A lot of, if there was an injury, the reason they had peg legs and things like that is because alone nowadays they could have saved them. Even back then, even the best medicine wouldn't have been available to them on the boats. So quite often they were amputated because there was nothing else they could possibly do while at sea. So that's why you had so many like that. Because obviously there was lots of fire and fighting and all the rest of it. So, also, right, there was a code of conduct for pirates, right, and it was written up by Captain Bartholomew Roberts.
No, it wasn't.
It was
Bartholomew.
Yeah,
that's who it was.
Known as Black Bart to other people, right?
To which people?
To people in the know, people who know about pirates, right? So I'm
Do you know
going to
about
read.
pirates?
There's a couple in the quiz, so I'm going to read you out a few of these and see what you think about these. All members of the crew get to vote and make a decision on important matters. Now, you wouldn't have thought, again...
Democratic.
Yeah, very
society.
democratic. Anyone who robs from another crew member will be punished by marooning. And interestingly, in the Pirates films that we were talking about earlier, it starts with Johnny Depp being... Well, he had been marooned by Barbossa, and with a pistol and a single shot, and blah blah blah. That's what they did. They did that quite a lot to people, and throughout history, apparently that's happens many times. And that, rather than killing them, it didn't appear that people used to walk the plank. I think that walking the plank hardly ever happened.
Well, the plank. People just seem to think that the plank is just a piece of wood that people would have on a pirate ship. But it's the way that people used to get onto the pirate ship.
Yeah, where in every pirate film you see people having to walk the plank, being forced to walk the plank. That just didn't happen, apparently.
Do they do that in Pirates of the Caribbean?
I don't know if they do or not.
Because you say in every pirate film.
Well, you know what I mean. Again, if I said to people...
most of this, I think, comes from Peter Pan.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Right, so it's Disney's fault, all this?
No, because Peter Pan wasn't written by Disney.
Oh, I know Peter Pan wasn't written by Disney, but the
Disney adaptation.
Most people, there'd be an awful lot of people that wouldn't have known about Peter Pan if it wasn't the fact that Disney picked it up and done what they did with it. I mean, it was still a very popular book, but whatever Disney touches goes to a global audience, doesn't it? Right, so... Anybody who's marooned, like anybody who's who robs from another crew member, again, I had this thing that they were all thieves and murderers and that they were all together anyway, but that's just not the case. No gambling allowed.
Well, I'm not being funny. You're saying about it being a democratic ship, yeah? And the fact that they're all thieves and liars and cheats and stuff like that, and they're all living on a boat together. Is that not Parliament? And they're democratic, so
that is very, very
we'll
true.
Carry on.
Very, very apt for you to say that. No gambling is allowed. Every crew member must keep his own weapons clean.
Well, of course.
Yeah.
You've got to keep your own weapon clean.
Yeah, I mean, you have to. I mean, that's a lesson for us all. Any crew member who cowardly abandons ship in time of battle will be punished with death or marooning. No punching or kicking each other whilst on board ship.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't want any of that breaking out.
No.
As I said, any crew member who loses a limb or is wounded will be given extra money. Now, the other thing with pirates as well is, what traditionally did they plunder for? What were they You know, what's the whole point of a pirate? What if you're a kid? What might you have if you're going to be a pirate? What was the next thing you'd do?
Booty.
Yeah, so booty. So in classic, you might have a map. X marks a spot. You know, and you'd have what would be buried there.
A couple Kit Kats. Maybe some doubloons.
Oh, doubloons.
Yeah.
Oh, doubloons. So you were taking that bit. Well, again, there was very rarely did they bury. I mean, there was no point of them burying stuff. They spent it quicker than they could do anything with it. And also, most of the time, it wouldn't have been stuff that they couldn't just sell on. So
it's only the mystical artifacts that we need to...
mystical artifacts, yes, anything like that. But...
like a skull made of crystal.
You're thinking of a different franchise there, I feel.
Okay.
But it was stuff that they could get rid of. So it was no good to them like booze would be a big thing for them to be able to move on. But to have loads of sort of loot, loads of treasure, as they used to say, with your treasure map and going for, that just wouldn't happen because there was no point in that happening. It just, it would be pointless for them to do it because they just wouldn't be able to sell it on. And what good is it dug in a hole somewhere, Let's face it, it would appear that they used to spend it as quickly as they made it, most of these pirates. Right, so that's a few of my little bits and pieces around what makes a pirate, or what makes a pirate look like a pirate. Obviously, some of these things that people have thought through the years are slightly different to perhaps what we thought they were there for.
It's popular culture telling people what they should be looking at again.
But it's fun, isn't it? I mean, I'm saying all this, but it's great. If someone said to me, as a fancy dress party, dress up as a pirate, you're going to put earrings in, you're going to put a scarf on your head.
See, I never think of earrings.
Oh, I would.
I never think of the scarf either.
And like you said, the big... Mum's got trousers like that. Like the other day when I was washing them, I realised that she had them.
I nearly wore them. On them.
I nearly not skull and crossbones. I nearly wore them for this particular podcast episode. But yeah, so that's not necessarily the case, is it?
So imagine you're at sea, and a big thing you're going to do to keep yourself entertained for that period of time, because there's not much else to do. You can drink. You can play games.
Pop-up pirate, yeah.
Pop-up pirate, yep. Noughts and crosses.
Yep.
Jenga.
Yeah.
But if you do too much Jenga, the ship just falls apart.
Especially if you use pieces of wood from the ship.
Yep. Bungee jumping from the crow's nest. The list goes on, but none of that's all that entertaining. So what to do when you're all busy working as well? Because you can't play Jenga whilst lifting an anchor. You sing.
Wow, you know so much about sailing.
I do know. So
I feel like I'm on that ship right now.
So sea shanties, not just from pirates. Right. Sea shanties are a common thing amongst
smugglers,
sea people,
mermaids,
seamen.
Right.
So sea shanties are a thing. Now, I thought about writing a sea shanty, and then I kind of couldn't get another sea shanty out of my head, so I've just done a parody of another sea shanty. But you've also written a sea shanty as well.
Well, I get, as per normal, I sit and I think about what I want to do, and I plan it, and then I write stuff out, and I rewrite it, and then I try and, whether I've written the music first, or then I go back and I do the words and that. And then it gets nearer to the actual time, and the delivery is just unacceptable, really. And so, yes, I've written a song, and it's not the same as yours, because I've got a rough idea what yours might sound like, but it's not the same as yours. But yes, not as good as I would have hoped it had been, but I gave it a crack.
Oh, so we doing yours first?
Not necessarily.
Or mine? Or which one do you want to do?
I don't care. You're in charge, Captain.
Oh, I don't know then.
Okay, then do mine.
Okay, then.
My one's called Connor the Pirate. There once was a fearsome pirate. He went by the name of Connor. If you ever dared to get in his way, you'd find yourself a gunner. He had blue eyes and a golden beard. Everybody feared his name. And the golden beard was very long, 'cause he very rarely trimmed it, that's for sure. Yes, he very rarely trimmed it, that's for sure. He sailed all 7 of the seas in a big boat he named Daisy. It really wasn't a dirty boat, it really was quite lazy. He liked to shave his wooden legs, 'cause he's a little crazy. He was quite bold and always cold, so he'd settle at his shipmates after dark. Yes, he'd settle at his shipmates after dark. One day while he was scaring some narcissistic goals, he tripped over a barrel and tore a new bum hole. His bottom is a mess, it really has been wrecked. So imagine what effect that's had on Captain Connor's own poop deck. There once was a fearsome pirate, he went by the name of Connor. He had feathers in his velvet hat and a sword tucked in his phalanx. Every day he'd pace his cabin, singing a dirty song. And he certainly was a dreadful chap. I think that's all you need to know. I think it's time for all of us to go.
I wasn't quite sure what to do about those voice crack waves fading out there. That was a lovely sea shanty.
Oh, thank you very much. Yes, it's just I thought I'd speak about what it would be like if you sailed the 7 seas.
Yep.
And terrorised people with your golden beard.
Yeah.
Yep.
Fair play.
Yep.
Well, I wrote a sea shanty. Well, I did a parody of a sea shanty.
Okay.
As I already mentioned, my sea shanty was also about you.
Oh, was it?
Not necessarily about you being a pirate, but just about you in general.
Oh, right. So it's... Oh, right. I get it. Oh, right. Let's just listen to it. I've got a feeling I know what this might be like.
I played it. Saturday's archer next to me was a man who looked rather similar to thee. His name contained more than one vowel, he's really easy to annoy. Soon may the deck guy come to bring us laughter and tea and fun. Each day when his job is done, he'll take his nap and snore. He takes long baths in the nude, he probably knows more trivia than you. The font on his phone can be seen from a view, he's getting rather old. Soon may the deck guy come to bring us laughter and tea and fun. Each day when his job is done, he'll take his nap and snore. He writes new songs every week, likely humming one as we speak. He goes to bed with no socks on his feet, he brings us so much joy. Soon may the deck guy come to bring us laughter and tea and fun. Each day when his job is done, he'll take his nap and snore. Soon may the deck guy come to bring us laughter and tea and fun. Each day when his job is done, he'll take his nap and snore. Take his nap and snore.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot, yeah.
There's a lot more verses in the original, but...
Was there? You cut that down, did you?
Yep.
Yes. No, very good, very good. I'll have to have a listen to that again.
Yeah, and by the way, it says, soon may the dead guy come, not the dead guy. I realise it sounds like, soon may the dead guy come.
Yes, and some of mine, because as you're doing it, I was trying to do an accent. I don't know if anybody noticed, but I was trying to do an accent, a West Country accent, funny enough, after me saying all about the fact that that's not how pirates talk. But it does mean that you lose some of the words in there. So,
yeah.
How is your poop deck anyway?
Yeah, it's better since they got that cream.
Right, good.
Game time.
Woohoo! Right, for a game. Game.
Yep, got a game.
Game.
Yep.
Yep. What's the game?
The game? Well, it's going to be a pirate game, isn't it?
Pirate game?
Well,
like
it's not going to be a
Jenga?
game. It's not going to be a game. I said game, and I didn't mean game. I mean quiz.
Oh.
Because
we right at the start doing the podcast, we made game time, and it's nearly always a quiz.
Well, it is, but that's a type of game, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
So not Jenga then?
Not Jenga then, no. No, it's a multiple choice, so a bit like Jenga, where you choose one bit of wood or another bit of wood to pull out. See?
Yep.
You see what I mean?
I see what you
A,
mean.
B or C, which one's going to work? It's a bit like that. I've done a sting for it. Would you like to play my sting?
Yeah, I play Sting. Ding.
What shall we do at the end of the podcast? What shall we do at the end of the podcast? What shall we do at the end of the podcast? Let's just have a quiz.
What a lovely sting.
I thought you'd like that.
Yep.
Okay. Are you ready then? Are you ready for your first one?
Wait, hang on. Are you ready, kids?
Are you ready, kids?
Aye, aye, Captain.
Question
I can hear
one.
you.
If your fellow pirates shouted, "Fire in the hole," what are they trying to tell you? Are they trying to tell you the toilet is out of bounds for the foreseeable future? Or B, because that was A, this always happens when I do this, B, fetch water because the hole is on fire. Or C, stand clear, cannon is about to be fired.
Stand clear, the cannon is about to be fired.
That is absolutely correct. Well done.
Thank you. Do I win now?
Not yet. You've got 9 more of these. Question 2. It's shore leave. Can you just... So I'm setting the scene here, right? It's shore leave and you've got an hour or 2 to spare. And your shipmate suggests you might crack Jenny's teacup. What does he mean? Does he mean get drunk, Connor? Does he mean spend some time with a prostitute, Connor? Or does he mean have a big old pirate poo, Connor?
Have a big old pirate poo.
Have a big old pirate poo. Crack Jenny's teacup.
Yeah, like porcelain teacup.
I can see where that's why I put that in, but that is incorrect. It's spend some time with a prostitute. Let's keep it light.
All right.
Question 3. Sorry, I'm still ill.
No, you're not.
If a fellow crew member refers to you as son of a biscuit eater, what is he doing? Is he A, insulting you? Is he B, claiming you're rich and the heir to the McVitie's fortune? Or is he C, saying you are a fine, wholesome fellow?
The first one.
Insulting you?
Yeah.
He would be insulting you. To call you a son of a biscuit eater is an insult. I don't know why, but it is. Question 4.
I think it is like saying, oh, you're all poncy and son of a poncy bloke.
Do you reckon?
Yeah.
Question 4. If a ship had a yellow flag flying, what did this signify? Is it A, thank you for the dog outside who came in on that one. Is it A, all aboard were cowards? Is it B, that they were carrying bananas? Or is it C, there were sick pirates on board?
Sick pirates. You
think it's C, sick pirates on board?
Yeah.
That is correct. Well
6
done.
pirates on board.
There were 6 sick pirates on board. What about, though, question 5, what about, though, if a red flag was being flown from the ship, what would this signify? Would it be A, everybody would be killed, no survivors? Would it be B, party on board, bring your own rum? Or would it be C, it is a ship primarily crewed by chimpanzees with an orangutan captain?
But that's to do the bananas one. It's A.
So you think if a red flag was being flown from a ship, it would signify that everybody would be killed, no survivors?
Yeah.
That's correct.
Yeah,
I literally used to do that. So that, and a lot of, it sounded like a lot of the stuff was done sometimes to scare the other boat, ship, whatever, because it would see that and instantly panic would spread. Okay, question 6. Which of these was a famous pirate? A, Captain Morgan. B, Captain Birdseye. C, Captain Caveman.
Captain Birdseye was a sailor. Captain Morgan is the alcohol, but It is based... Captain Morgan is based off the pirate.
Not Captain Caveman.
No.
It is Captain Morgan.
I don't know who Captain Caveman is.
Captain Caveman. Don't you know it's a Hanna-Barbera thing of a caveman?
Who's
Look it up.
Hanna-Barbera?
Hanna-Barbera.
Who's Hanna-Barbera?
Cartoon. Scooby-Doo, all that sort of thing was that sort of stuff. Question 7. Which of these was a real name for a ship captained by Henry Morgan? We've just talked about him. That was the Captain Morgan I was talking about.
No way.
Yeah, way.
Unbelievable, Jeff.
I know, but which one of these was actually one of his ships? A, Jumping Jack Flash. B, Satisfaction. Or C, Brown Sugar.
Brown Sugar.
It wasn't. In fact, it was Satisfaction.
Oh, I thought you said Satisfaction. I thought it was a pun.
No, they're all Rolling Stones songs, but...
Oh, are they?
Oh, yeah, sorry, I forgot you were 12.
23.
Question 8. Oh, well, this is an interesting one. You haven't got a C for this one. You've got A or B, right? What is flopsome? Is it A, objects thrown overboard? I'm going to start that one again.
Yes, please.
Is it A, flotsam, objects thrown overboard a ship deliberately? Or is it B, objects that are in the water accidentally from a ship, i.e. from a shipwreck?
I reckon it's secret answer C.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Neither of those two.
But it's B.
You think it's B?
Yeah.
You are correct. So flotsam is defined as debris in the water that was not deliberately thrown overboard.
Sounds positive.
Often as a result from a shipwreck or accident. Jetsam describes debris that was deliberately thrown overboard by a crew of a ship in distress, most often to lighten the ship's load. So, with that in mind...
Is it flopsam or flotsam?
Flotsam.
Flotsam. See, that sounds more funny. Like, right. As in, that sounds more like, oh, we're finding this. This is great. And what amazing flotsam we've just found.
So, okay. So, if you were on the beach or you were on another boat just out there and you come across a bit of flotsam or a bit of jetsam, would you be able to claim it as your own? This is a supplementary question on top of that.
Me personally, yes.
Right. So, for instance, flotsam, if you found a bit of flotsam, would you legally own it?
I would, yeah.
No, I'm not asking legally. So, legally, actually, you wouldn't, right? Because you're not your own law.
I'd like to refer you to the law, which is finders, keepers, losers, weepers.
Right. So, with that in mind, flotsam may be claimed by the original owner, whereas jetsam may be claimed as property of whoever discovers it. Finders, keepers, losers, weepers. If the jetsam is valuable, the discoverer may collect proceeds received through the sale of salvaged objects. So, I seem to remember, didn't a load of cars or some really expensive stuff came off a ship, and people were heading down to into the coast to try and collect this sort of stuff that was floating in, because obviously they could literally just have it for themselves, sort of thing. But there you go. So
was that in pirate times? So
yeah,
cars?
Yeah, pirate cars. Question 9.
With crow's nests and stuff on the antenna.
Pirates have a code of conduct which all
true,
aboard
yes.
must obey. But what would you get into trouble for bringing on board? Would you get in trouble for bringing A woman, B, a parrot, or C, a woman dressed as a parrot?
A woman.
A woman.
Yes.
That is absolutely correct. Although I would have accepted C, because the actual law is no woman or children allowed on board the ship. Any crew member bringing a woman or child on board, even in disguise, will be killed. So there you go. So if you brought a woman on dressed as a parrot, you'd still be in trouble.
That's why I had a 66% chance of getting that right.
Yeah, well
Thanks.
done. And your last question
No way.
Way. Question 10. What time was the general bedtime for pirates?
This is not multiple choice, this one.
It is. Sorry, I forgot about that. Is it A, 8 o'clock? Is it B, 9 o'clock? Or is it C, they didn't have one?
9 o'clock.
So close and yet so far. 8 o'clock was their bedtime. And I couldn't believe this. This was part of the, when I talked about pirate Captain Bartholomew Roberts, known as Black Bart, and they wrote up the code of conduct. That was one of the things that were in there. I just cannot imagine they go, right, everybody, can we have 5 more minutes? No, it's 8 o'clock.
Well, there might be someone on guard.
Yeah, there would be. Yeah, there would be like a crew to make sure that the ship still sailed, but the majority of the people on board would have to retire at 8 o'clock to make sure that they had the strength to go another day.
Well, yeah, it does make sense.
But telling grown people, just normal people, that they've got to go to bed at a certain time is bad enough. But just the thought of actually being on a pirate ship and going, right, all you lot, come on, off to bed, all the blokes.
You work, don't you?
I work.
And you've worked in the past.
Yeah.
And you've worked in jobs that have given you a lunch hour.
Yeah.
And you've worked in jobs that have given you a lunch hour at a specific time.
Yeah, I'm talking about a bedtime, not a lunchtime.
Yeah, but it's the same kind of thing, same kind of principle.
No.
You've got to do this at this time.
I thought that was ridiculous, but there you go. That's just me then, is it?
Yep.
Or you being pedantic?
No, I think it's reasonable.
Oh, right.
You can't have all your pirates up all night. Because one, the pirates trying to get to sleep will struggle.
Okay.
Poor
well, just
pirates.
Get another eye patch, put it over the other eye. They'd be all right then,
how about their ears?
Yeah. Well, they've stuffed the wax in their ears, haven't they? Just
from the earrings.
They can't hear anything. They can't see anything. They
can't hear
stand
anything.
up because they've got one wooden leg and a parrot. We didn't talk about parrots on board, but there you go.
Yeah, well, they help keep them up.
Yeah.
Through flying. That is the end of your little quiz.
Oh, yeah, I say that. That is the end of my pirate quiz. Okay, so we're done for another week.
Yeah, it took a while.
It did take a while.
Took longer than anticipated because it took a whole extra week.
I know, but hopefully we've covered all the facts for everybody and we've covered all the detail that they needed from this.
Yeah, because people desperately needed to know about pirates.
Well, I think in this day and age and how the world seems to be in chaos and we all seem to be waking up every day to another catastrophe or another thing to worry about, I think it's important to think about pirates, dinosaurs, and all the other topics, Japan, topics that we cover over these weeks. I think we're doing a service to the nation.
Yep.
Yeah.
And other nations.
And other nations. Certainly other nations by the look of it. But there we are. So big shout out to all our Singapore fans out there. If I'd have remembered, I would have worked out and practiced how to say thank you in your language, but I didn't, so I won't. Okay, so that's me done. Have you got to go through all your spiel?
Well, yeah, I guess so, if you're done.
I am done. Is there anything else we need to cover?
Well, we've not had any messages recently, and there's a great way that you can leave a message to us. You can do it on our website at fatherandsundays.com, and you can go on our website and go onto the contact page, and you can leave a comment, suggestion, question, or complaint. You can also notify that you don't want us to read in the podcast, or you can notify us saying you do want us to read in the podcast. But the website is also a great place. You've got a store, helps keep us going. All the episodes are available on there, and there's links to all the different podcast platforms. We are available on all podcast platforms, and you can also rate us on those. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, like and share and follow us on those. And also...
Who follows us on those? Share?
Yeah, Share follows us on those.
Do you believe she follows us on Facebook? Or whatever? Go on.
Yep. And and you can also send us messages in there as well. I think that's it.
Okay. Well, in that case, thanks for listening. Thanks for continuing to listen. I hope we don't have any more breaks. Hopefully we can keep on going now for a while. And goodbye from me.